Good morning to you, Mr. Trump.
Good morning.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's very exciting.
How did it happen? What time?
How did it happen?
Or, I know how it happened. Yeah, don't answer that.
we won't get into the details, but it was about probably 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and it was very exciting. On Easter, so we have an Easter baby, which is beautiful.
Well, that's fantastic, and it looks like Ivanka's doing great. So probably for the moment, Theodore is your favorite grandchild. We're going to get to the controversy revolving around that in just a moment.
Okay.
Let's talk about what happened over the weekend, over last week in the Brussels attacks. Ray Kelly is one of the people who says this is the wake-up call for Belgium and for Europe. They never got it together like we did after 2001. Do you agree?
Well, Ray Kelly's a friend of mine. I know him very well, and he's 100% right. And I said about Brussels, if you remember, the New York Times criticized me very, very viciously when I said Brussels is a hellhole, it's waiting to explode, and they ended up doing big articles on it, and then all of a sudden everybody's saying I was right. Brussels is really in deep trouble. They don't know what's going on, and it's look, they have people that never had anything like this. They have people that have absolutely no control over themselves, and it's a real problem. It was a real problem.
Yeah, Mr. Trump, they've got clashes on the streets today because the open borders policies of the elites have been have a very different effect on the people. Yet our president, President Obama, in his weekly address over the weekend, declared that we should be open to more refugees as an example of what America represents. We're going to play what he had to say and have you react.
Okay.
As we move forward in this fight, we have to wield another weapon alongside our airstrikes, our military, and our counterterrorism work, and our diplomacy. And that's the power of our example. Our openness to refugees fleeing ISIL's violence, our determination to win the battle against ISIL's hateful and violent propaganda, a distorted view of Islam that aims to radicalize young Muslims to their cause.
Now, he would probably say you have a distorted view of Islam or radical Islam. What do you say to what he had to say?
I'll tell you what I say. I can't even believe that he's saying it. It's inconceivable that he's saying it. Open borders. Everything he said there is absolutely, you would almost say it's disgraceful. You can't even imagine that a man could make those statements, especially a president of this country. We need protection. We need borders. We need on the southern border, we need the wall, and the wall's going to get built. And Mexico's going to pay for the wall, by the way, just in case anybody has any questions. And it is disgraceful that he could say this, and especially when he talks about coming in from the Middle East, frankly, even more so, where they're undocumented. We have no idea where they come from. We have no idea who they are. And you saw what, a few months ago in California, you saw what 2 radicalized young people could do. The 2 people got married, killed their co-workers. It is just insane what this man is saying.
You know, what's interesting is John Kerry was all over the networks over the weekend. He was saying that the Republican candidates, including you, are the embarrassment. Let's listen to this and get your reaction.
Every leader I meet, they ask about what is happening in America. They cannot believe it. I think it is fair to say that they're shocked. They don't know where it's taking the United States of America. It upsets people's sense of equilibrium about our steadiness, about our reliability. And to some degree, I must say to you, some of the questions, the way they're posed to me, it's clear to me that what's happening is an embarrassment to our country.
Your reaction?
Well, I'm shocked by him. And I'm shocked that he would sign a deal like the Iran deal, which is one of the worst and dumbest deals I've ever seen negotiated. A horrible, horrible embarrassment deal. I'm shocked by his policy of open door. I'm shocked by just about everything that he's done and everything that President Obama has done. It's leading this country down. We're being taken down. Not only are we making horrible trade deals with almost every country we do business with, I think I can actually say every country we do business with, we're losing our jobs, we're losing everything. But in terms of security, this open door policy is catastrophic, and it's going to lead. I mean, you talk about downfall. This could lead to the downfall of the greatest nation on earth.
Well, you went into an extensive interview with the New York Times with David Sanger. And first off, do you think you were treated fairly in that interview as you saw the write-up after your 90-minute conversation?
I do think I was treated fairly, and that's very different. My answers were very different from what you've been hearing. My answers on NATO is obsolete. We're spending too much money on NATO. We're paying the lion's share. We're spending tremendous amounts of money on something that was many, many decades ago, and the world has changed. It's a different place. There's no emphasis on terror with NATO, and frankly, if there is, you need different countries because it involves different countries. NATO is very obsolete, and it should be readjusted and changed.
Right.
And frankly, other people should also bear the brunt. Why are we paying for so much?
And I just found out that we pay for 72% of all defense costs, and only 5 of the 28 nations pay what they're required to do, and that's 2% of their GDP on defense. And it turns out you're right about that. But in terms of NATO, with the reinvigorated Russian aggression in the area, it's the only thing that keeps these Eastern European nations from being overrun.
Brian, I don't mind NATO per se, but it has to be reconstituted. It has to be modernized. You know, we're dealing with NATO from the days of the Soviet Union, which no longer exists.
But they want to reconstitute it.
We need to either transition into terror or we need something else because we have to get countries together. You see what happened with Brussels, where they had absolutely no intelligence having to do with people living in their own country. They have no coordination with other countries. There's zero coordination that they had with other countries, and it was ridiculous. I mean, I knew more about Brussels than Brussels knew. I was the one that predicted this was going to happen in Brussels and was criticized by the New York Times for it, and now everybody's saying I was right all over Twitter. So, I mean, you know, we need to modernize NATO, at a minimum modernize it, but certainly we shouldn't be paying for the kind of it. We're paying disproportionately so much, and we're a nation that owes $19 trillion, and we just can't keep doing this.
Well, Mr. Trump, obviously Ted Cruz has been a big critic of yours. He called your America First approach isolationism, called it weakness, said ISIS would be dancing in the street. But that's not the only fight that you've had with Senator Cruz. He accused you of planning the National Enquirer smear. You know, a lot of people look at this exchange and they just say why. They say tasteless, you know, below basic human decency to be posting pictures of other people's, unflattering pictures of other people's wives. Were you behind this, and why get into the mud targeting? You see this photo right here, unflattering, of Heidi Cruz. Why?
He sent a photo of my wife, a cover shoot for GQ magazine, which was frankly fine, but he sent that out to everybody. He knew about it 100%. He knew about it 100%, just so you understand.
He told us he didn't on this couch.
He's lying. That's why everybody calls him Lying Ted Cruz. He's a liar.
He said he's never talked to that super
He sent the photo out. As sure as you're sitting there, he knew about it. Somebody even said he's the one who bought the copyrights from GQ. Now, we'll find out who bought the copyrights from GQ. But he knew about it at a minimum. I just retweeted something. Somebody said I have 15 million people between Facebook and Twitter and all of these different things. Somebody sent me that. I sent it out. And frankly, all I'm doing is counterpunching what he did. He sent that photo out. He knew about it 100%. It was a PAC that was very friendly to him. And, you know, let's not be naive, folks. As far as strength, nobody has more strength on the borders than Donald Trump. I have Sheriff Joe Arpaio supporting me. Nobody has the strength that I have on the borders. Nobody has the strength that I have on the military. Ted is actually weak on that. And you're right. My policy is America first. It'll always be America first.
And here's Ted Cruz on his view of the National Enquirer story that says he has 5 mistresses.
Look, this story is garbage. It is tabloid smear, and it came from Donald Trump and his henchmen. These are complete, made-up lies. They're garbage. But, you know, it's indicative of just how low Donald Trump will go. He makes up lies and attacks. He has no answers for how to keep America safe for radical Islamic terrorism. So instead, he attacks my wife. He attacks my family. He goes to garbage and sleaze and lies.
Is that true? Did you plant the story in the National Enquirer?
First of all, I have the ultimate answer as to keeping America safe from radical Islamic terrorism. Far better than him. Far better, and everybody knows it. That's number one. Number two, I had nothing to do with the National Enquirer. I knew nothing about it. I just saw it yesterday for the first time. What happens is it seems like the Daily Beast, no friends of mine, wrote a story that Marco Rubio was behind it, and it was a pretty conclusive story that Marco Rubio has been peddling that story for a long time. I knew nothing about it. I know nothing about it. I have no idea whether or not it's true, but it's likely he should try and blame me because he's losing by a lot. I mean, I have many, many more delegates than him. I have millions of more votes than him in the primary. He's losing by a lot, so he's not going to blame Rubio because Rubio's out.
And we only have 30 seconds. I just got to ask you.
I just want to tell you, I had nothing to do with that story.
Right,
absolutely zero.
All right. Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Well, you're saying he's weak. He's saying you're weak. Will you debate Senator Cruz on the issues as opposed to the wives stuff?
I'm saying that Ted Cruz has made this up because he needs it politically because he's losing so badly. It's very easy. And he's doing very badly, and he's choking, and he's making things up. He's bringing them out. I had nothing to do with the National Enquirer story, and frankly, I hope it's not true because it's pretty bad. I hope it's not true.
All right.
Donald Trump. Thank you. Congratulations
Okay.
on being a grandfather.
Again,
Thank you
Give her
very
our
much.
best. Thank you.